Hi, I'm Wayne and this is Bassador Woodworking. Welcome to the future location of Bassador Woodworking's North Campus. In all seriousness, this is a woodshed that's on my property. This was actually where I set up my first wood shop when we bought the house. I quickly outgrew it and it just became too small of a space for me to store any of my tools and have them be usable, so that's when I moved into the garage. But this is still a decently sized space, and has just been kind of used over the past couple of years as just junk storage, and also where we store all of our landscaping and yard equipment. But I kind of want that to change. This will one day all collapse or I'll tear it down, but for the time being I'm going to set this up so that it's more usable for us. So over one video, multiple videos, however this all turns out, I'm going to clean this all out, get it organized, and kind of figure out what this space can become. I have ideas of maybe making this where I keep more of my metalworking stuff. I have a nice area outside where I can do some like very basic forging and smithing, so I'm hoping that this will start to serve that purpose better.
In 2017, when my wife and I were house hunting, one of the only must-haves I had on my list was a place for me to set up my wood shop. And I'm not blind, I know that this place looks like a straight-up murder shed, but from 2017 until 2021, this space was my favorite part of my property and it served its purpose nicely. As a wood shop, not as a murder shed. It's not a murder shed. At a certain point, its limitations started to outweigh its utility. In addition to sharing the space with any seasonal wildlife that decided to live there, the entire shop runs off of a single 15-amp circuit, so I would often have to run an extension cord from the house when I had to do a lot of table saw intensive projects because the breaker would trip constantly. You will recognize most of the tools I have in my current shop were all fit into this much smaller footprint. Everything was basically set up on top of everything else, and it became unworkable as a wood shop. But in the 4 or so years I worked out of this shop, I was able to complete countless projects, and with this reorganization to a more metalworking and fabrication focused space, I hope to squeeze the last drops of utility out of this space before I tear it down and replace it with something a little bit larger. Like I said earlier in the video, once I moved the woodshop out of this space, it just became a catch-all for anything that didn't fit elsewhere. I haven't even kept the circuit breaker for this shed on because I've been afraid an animal would chew on a wire or something, and since I don't go in there very often, I wouldn't notice anything until the whole thing decided to catch on fire.
Over the last couple of years of not using this as a wood shop and just storing basic yard equipment and stuff, this space has accumulated just a lot of junk, and anything that doesn't fit in the wood shop usually makes it over here. So I have a whole bunch of like random cutoffs, some large pieces, I have some tabletops, and of course today in the shop I have Bailey with me. We're going to clean this all out today, just at least get a lay of the land of what we have. Anything cool that I find along the way, I'll cut away and we'll just do a quick little talk about it. Okay, so I have this side better. I wouldn't call it organized, but now I have a place to move things so that I can clear out a corner to start putting all of the large lawn stuff. I'm going to try to separate corners of the shed into like basically all tool related things will be over here. Any small things will be over here. Yard implements will be over there, and then any automotive or parts related stuff goes in this other corner. And we'll just go from there. Okay, and I think I've got it. Oh, hey Bailey. I think I've got it as good as it's going to get, at least today. As you can see, I've got like everything in a spot. I've got the main floor open, which is really what I needed to do because this thing has a hole in the tire and I need to fix it and I need room to get around it to fix it. I'm just going to try to patch it before replacing the tire in itself. But some cool things I found that I completely forgot I had while I was cleaning. One of which is this thing. You can't really see it all that well because it's kind of buried, but this is a have a heart trap that my grandfather built just out of scrap wood. And then above that it's a concrete saw. And then box for a boat anchor that I keep like fittings and stuff in. That's a bow and arrow. Just like an old water cooler and stuff like that. You got the dog. She likes hanging out in here because there's a bunch of animals that live in this shed, so she gets to kind of see where they've all been. There's a bunch of bunnies and things like that live all over the place. Squirrels live up in there. One of the things I really liked about the shop when I was in it is I had the table saw mounted like about right here. You can actually see some of the red marks of where level spots on the floor were that I could stick the stand to the table saw. But there used to always be squirrels poking their head out of there while I was doing stuff, and it was kind of cool. It was like you're never alone in the shop. And if you tap the ceiling at any point, like you'll hear scurrying and stuff. It's kind of cool. I have a generator because we lose power quite often. And just, you know, old odds and ends from the like shop, tool stands, the old cabinet that I used to keep all of my finishes and stuff in. So nothing goes away, it just kind of gets moved. Bailey girl, come on in. Come look at your new space. Yeah, it does smell like your butt. Yeah. Alright, we're back here for day 2 in what I have named Bassador Woodworking's North Campus. This is the site of my original wood shop. It's going to be a metalworking / just kind of non-woodworking space. I have a couple of things to do in here today. It's been about a week since the last time I worked on all this, but today I want to patch the tire in the lawn tractor so I can get that out of the way and start moving it around the space. I also want to build myself just a really quick and dirty workbench out here. This is going to just be utilizing a tabletop that I already have over in the corner there, and just a couple of workmates as legs. This is going to be a super simple, super versatile little space that I can just break down the bench when I need to, put the bench back up when I need to use it. There's nothing really in here that's going to be permanently situated anywhere. So, let's start. First, patching a tire on a tractor. Now that the tire is plugged on the lawn tractor, I can now move on to building a just breakdown bench. I'm thinking this is the best wall for that. I have power in a couple of places on the wall, and it's one of the more level places in the floor here. So I'm gonna get all this stuff out of the way. I know I just put it here, but this is kind of like a living thing. I'm gonna be moving stuff around a lot. So this stuff I think I'm just gonna move against this wall over here, and then put my table together, and then some stuff can be stored underneath the bench, and it'll all happen. Alright, I have this tabletop here. I'm going to mount a couple of just cleats to the bottom that the workmate will clamp into its vise. And that will be how this table is set up and broken down. So I'm just going to grab some scrap wood out of the bucket and make a couple little cleats and just drive them in with screws. It won't damage the tabletop at all, won't hurt the workmate. Yeah. Alright, I found these two little cut-offs of plywood. They're a little bit smaller than I would have liked, but they should still work perfectly fine. So now I'm just going to use a drill some pilot holes through so that I don't split the layers of plywood apart. And then I will mount one on each end, and then it should be good. Okay, I think that's about where I'm going to leave it for this time. I have my bench set up. I've brought over some of my duplicate tools from the wood shop over to here, so I have a small air compressor. I brought the forge over. I have a smaller shop vac for just quick cleanups and stuff like that. I also brought over my sandblaster. I've used this a couple of times in the wood shop, and it just makes a gigantic mess. I completely now understand why people have sandblasting cabinets. But if I make a mess in here, I don't really care. This thing is a mess. There's only so far down it can go. So that will all live here. I still have to come back in like another week or so, probably throughout the next week, and clean up the outside area a little bit so that I can move over an anvil, get a forge set up, a charcoal one that will just permanently live outside, and maybe even throw an awning so that if it's like drizzling like it is right now, I can still work outside. Not sure though. This is all kind of just as I go. But thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to keep up to date with new projects as they are released. And until next time, thank you.